the science behind those gradient winds, Lauren?
Yeah, well, Tania, first we have to think about what exactly causes wind, and it all has to do with differences in pressure. We talk about high and low pressure a lot, and all the atmosphere is trying to do at most times is trying to balance itself out. So if you think about an area of high pressure versus an area of low pressure, if the atmosphere is wanting to equalize itself, air is going to move from high to low pressure. So this is an example of where we have a weak high pressure across the western U.S. and weak low pressure across the eastern U.S. When you have that, the wind isn't changing very quickly because the pressure isn't changing very quickly. So you've got just a small change in pressure, you have weak winds. However, when you have a strong high pressure and a strong low pressure, you have a much larger change in pressure over a distance. And so that causes strong winds. So what exactly, when we talk about gradient winds, we're referring to the pressure gradient specifically. And the pressure gradient is just, look at gradient. That means change. So the direction and rate that pressure changes over a certain distance. So as we look at a surface pressure map, you see these lines here. These are called isobars. And isobars just mean lines of equal pressure. So along an isobaric line, you could see possibly 1,015 millibars, 1,000 millibars, 980 millibars. When we get into hurricane season, you see a really powerful hurricane. Sometimes that can be 920 millibars. So that's just what these lines are measuring. So you can see areas of low pressure here on the map, but then also areas of high pressure. And this is what we're under currently. An area of high pressure is beginning to take control, so winds are beginning to lighten up. But because there is such a drastic change between the high and the low pressures that are nearby, that is causing winds to be stronger. You can see that the gradient winds are showing that the more closely spaced these isobars are, the more that pressure is changing really quickly. That causes the winds to be stronger. And that's exactly what happened the other day. Sometimes the worst winds can be outside of a severe thunderstorms. Those gradient winds, if you have a big enough change in pressure, they can certainly pack a punch.